Everclear, and today I'm excited to talk to Rob from Sprinter. Hey Rob, how are you today?
Yeah, good, Dima. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm really excited because it's been a very long-awaited integration between Everclear and Sprinter because you guys have this next-gen solver infrastructure and you're building a bunch of really cool things, and we're really pumped about this partnership. And I just really wanted to ask a few questions today just to understand more about Sprinter, what you guys do, why is it important, how we will work together. So yeah, maybe question one is like what is Sprinter for a layman?
Yeah. I guess in layman's terms, Sprinter combines solving as in service infrastructure with credit-based cross-chain liquidity. So what that actually means, it enables solvers to borrow and execute on-chain actions without actually having pre-funded inventory. So this also gives dApps and protocols access to the best execution routes. And Sprinter actually comprises of two products. One, Sprinter Stash, which is our actual cross-chain credit protocol. And this is what provides liquidity to solvers. And then there's Sprinter Solve. So it's our solving as a service platform that's built on top of the Project Blanc solver.
Amazing. And I'm curious, like, how you guys compare to, let's say, Kalani or just like a normal solver like Toka, because the
Mm.
landscape is getting kind of diversified, right? And like people are tackling different parts of the stack. So, kind of, what's the difference between you and some other solving protocols in the space, like Ayori as well?
Yeah, I think the main difference is that we're not just a solver. So we're a solver, but we're also solver infrastructure as well. So if you look at, I guess, Toka and Kalani, so they're
Mhm.
typically individual solver teams. So they compete in auctions. They solve all the incoming intents. But I guess Sprinter also powers solvers like Toka and Kalani with shared liquidity. So, as I mentioned, Sprinter Stash, which is our credit system. And we have a bunch of APIs that let them solve across their protocols, and it actually gives them better speed and capital efficiency as well. We've also got a plug and play system for dApps and wallets. So they can actually
Mhm.
directly embed solving directly into the apps, which solvers can't quite do or scale.
Mhm.
And then that allows them to solve cross chain as well.
Mm. Okay, I got you. Well, obviously, you guys are pros in cross-chain solving. So, could you explain for our listeners like why solving is hard? Because everybody talks about that. Everybody talks about like tiny solver margins, but like, why is it hard? And what are the actual margins are? So could you tell more about that?
Yeah. Um, I think most people in this space are aware of, the complex problems people face. And these are anything from like bridging risks and latency, losing your money or taking ages for it to settle on the destination chain. I guess fragmented liquidity across multiple chains. The classic example is, your USDC on one chain is not the same USDC on another chain.
Yeah.
And then you got things like gas differences, slippages, and then you go into more complex problems like reorgs and stuff. So the margins are super thin, right? You're talking about anywhere between 1 to 15 BPS, right? So that actually means capital efficiency is very important,
Mm-hmm.
um, and that's why we think that kind of shared liquidity and smart inventory management, which is what we provide, is the huge unlock to all three of those problems.
Yeah, 100%. And I guess it also depends on the chain, right? So probably for
Mm.
top five EVM chains, the situation is much, much better, right? Whereas when you look at a new chain or like at some alt VMs like Tron or Ton,
Mm.
it's getting a little bit harder, right? And I also suppose that if there is a new chain that really wants to unlock a liquidity bridging but doesn't want, let's say, to pay for like integration with like top intent bridge, they can just come to you and kind of get your solver as a service and just really like unlock that for the users, right? So is it how it
Mm.
could work?
Yeah, I mean, and that's why we're obviously going into a partnership with Everclear, because I guess we're really trying to solve two halves of the same intent problem, right? So Everclear, they coordinate intent execution, and one of our favorite features of Everclear is its netting between protocols and blockchains. So where we see, the benefit of the integration is that we can execute fills and source liquidity to actually make those intents real and efficient as well. So
Yeah.
with that, we can actually unlock high speed, low cost, and credit aware execution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes sense. And I also like see how new chains will be really excited to probably use this bundle of Sprinter and Everclear to solve their, intent bridging problems. Cool, amazing. So let's switch to the future. I'm curious, like, what you think will happen with the interrupt space this year? What will be your, top one prediction?
Well, um, I really think we'll move from kind of a user or protocol going which bridge to what's the best route, right? So we were working on this throughout 23, 24, when we evolved Sigma, which was our cross-chain bridge, uh,
Hmm.
into Sprinter. And, hopefully in 2025, we go from, bridges to abstracted intents, something Everclear been looking at as well, where users just sign one action. And then under the hood, behind the scenes, you've got protocol like Sprinter and Everclear taking care of everything, right? So credit, liquidity, settlement. So making all of the complexity invisible kind of, is what true composability hopefully will be.
Interesting. Well, maybe I have a follow-up question here. So
Mm.
if you look at DeFi Llama bridges section, right, you can definitely see
Mm-hmm.
that protocols that do have some burden rights, they sometimes can power obviously like unlimited transaction sizes, right? It can be like a million, it
Mm-hmm.
can be millions. Whereas intents are in a way a little bit bottlenecked by available liquidity, right? So how do you see this kind of unfolding in the future, right? Do you think like there is always will be this, let's say, like unreachable kind of area for intents, right? Which they cannot tackle, which is I don't know, like million, 10 million transaction sizes, or do you think there is a future in which intents can get on par with burn mint standards and protocols in a way that they can power unlimited liquidity, in a single transaction? So, what do you think about that? Are you
Yeah,
optimistic? Intense?
ab- absolutely very bullish on intents. Um, I think we can get on par, and there are things that we're working on called just-in-time liquidity, right? Something that's part of I guess, a credit-based system where you don't actually have to hold the inventory for all that liquidity either. Essentially, when you need that liquidity, we can essentially get it from other lending pools to actually help you fill large size order intents without having to need to hold that capital as well.
Hmm. I'm bullish as well. So, yeah,
Nice,
fingers
nice.
crossed. Fingers crossed. Great. My final question, Rob, is
Mm.
could you share any exciting plans that you guys have, this quarter, this year? So,
Yeah,
what's the message to the crowd?
yeah. We have a huge year, so we're essentially launching Sprinter in the very near future. Sprinter Stash will go live in the coming weeks, so we're already essentially in open beta. And then, throughout this quarter, we'll probably expand liquidity pools across, different chains. We'll onboard select solvers as well as intent-based protocols. And then, in Q3, what we also want to look at is additional blockchains such as Solana, and it being able to actually solve, on Solana as well. And
Mhm.
then through Q4 is probably a public API launch for our selected partners, and then scaling up and getting everyone on board that can actually use both Sprinter and Everclear to solve all their incoming intents.
That will be fantastic. Okay, well, good luck with your official launch, Rob, and definitely we're extremely excited about our partnership. So, yeah, that was it. Thank you guys for listening, and see you all next time on the next live stream.
Awesome.
Bye, Rob.
Thanks, Dima. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Cheers.